What's up guys, and welcome to the video. I'm Nick and I post about bikes, my rides, and everything cycling. In this video I'm going to be talking about my latest new bike day purchase, the Canyon Grail CF SL7 2023 model. I rode it on its maiden voyage recently, a 40-ish mile trip around Brooklyn, New York, with about 20 miles of gravel at our local gravel paradise by the ocean, Shirley Chisholm Park. Dive in with me to get my feedback on the bike, a breakdown of the specs, and anything I might upgrade or change about it in the future. I'll also drop in some of my personal reasons as to why I decided to get a gravel bike when I already own quite a few bikes. The Canyon CF SL7 Grail was first introduced in 2018, and this is a 2023 model. It's my first time owning a bike from Canyon, as well as my first real gravel bike. I did own another gravel bike in the past, a Scott Speedster 50 Gravel, which was aluminum frame and had a mechanical Shimano group set. And I raced a couple gravel events on it and fell in love with it. However, I live in New York City, and it's not the most convenient thing in the world to travel to a gravel ride, so I ended up selling it and eventually did want to get a new one. I put those plans on hold for about 6 months until checking out some bikes recently in the $3,000 range and ended up with this Grail. A few of the specs on it are carbon frame, mechanical 2x GRX group set, integrated cables, and a one-piece cockpit. The Grail was semi-famous for its double-decker handlebar design, which they have recently gotten rid of in exchange for a more traditional one-piece handlebar stem combo. I personally don't love this because I feel the bars could be angled down a tiny bit, but the all-in-one stem combo means you really can't do that. That's a minor complaint, as the size small fits me, a 5'8" rider, perfectly, and although I haven't taken it to a proper bike fitter, and I probably won't, I think it's fine for now. The bike ships with DT Swiss Gravel LN aluminum wheels and Schwalbe G1 42mm gravel tires, which are well-proven, very popular gravel tires. The wheels are aluminum, so they're kind of heavy, but that's to be expected on a mid-tier bike like this. If I were to tier up into the $5,000-ish range, I probably could have got a bike with carbon fiber wheels shipped, but these will do for now. One of my favorite things about the bike is the fact that it is 2x. One thing I really wanted out of a gravel bike is the ability to ride road on it and explore this one-bike-fits-all solution. I currently ride a lot of road, but I'm not involved in racing or clubs, so I really don't need or have any obligations to road riding or road training. I was initially planning on using this bike as my only main nice bike, selling the road bike. I'll talk more about this idea later, but after one great ride on it, while I do love the bike, I don't think it'll be the only nice bike that I own. In this video, you'll see me crushing around on some gravel with a gorgeous backdrop here at Brooklyn's Shirley Chisholm Park. This park is located by Jamaica Bay over in East New York. I rode this bike for about 4 hours this day. I rode to the park, about an hour through the city streets, rode around for 20 miles on the gravel, and then rode it back to my neighborhood the long way, about an hour and a half or 23 miles. My first impressions of the bike, after riding a fast carbon road bike on the same route many times, except the gravel part, there's a lot of paved loop here that I have ridden. I can say that this bike eats the streets up, especially the New York streets. Our streets kind of suck in some places with potholes and crazy mixed terrains, so having these giant tires really instills confidence in riding around town. I know a lot of people use gravel bikes as commuters or city bikes for this very reason, and while I could see myself doing that, what I can't see myself doing is locking this thing up anywhere outside. I already have a DIY gravel bike that I made that I kind of do that riding on, so this one really isn't for that sort of riding. One thing I quickly did notice though, once I hit the loose stuff, was the tires, bars, and shifting all feel insanely secure. The park is a pretty good climbing once you get into it, and so quickly jumping around on the rear cassette and into both front gears was insanely fast and responsive, and I know that GRX is a top gravel set, and so that is no surprise. The rear mech has 12 gears, not 11 like my road bike, so a ton of range of jumping around when you need to do the gravel climbs. Gravel, in my experience, can be insanely climby with really short, punchy technical stuff, especially once you get on single track, so having 12 gears and 2 in the front was super important to me in buying a bike. I know that a lot of people want to go for a one-by gravel setup, but opting for a semi-small front chainring. And for me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Not only because I ride mostly road and I want to be able to feel confident on road on this thing, but also because I plan on doing bike touring on this bike, and bike touring is mostly on road. Another thing that I thought noteworthy to mention after riding for the first time was the width of the handlebars. I'm coming from a road bike background where narrow is arrow, so my 38mm bars there feel a lot more comfortable being basically shoulder width than these pretty wide 42mm bars. I don't hate it, I'm just not used to it. The flare dropouts are cool, but I think there's just two different intentions between road drops and gravel drops. I don't feel more arrow getting in these drops. Again, this might be a me problem, but at this point I'm not really reviewing the bike, I'm reviewing the concept of wide handlebars, which I know is popular among gravel. I just don't think I get it yet. This is also coming from someone who has raced on gravel in the pack for many hours at a time on pretty technical single track, as well as on long flat roads where you do get arrow. So it's not like it's my first time riding wide bars. I think I just ride so much road that I'm not really familiar with them quite yet. Another thing worth mentioning about the bike after the first ride is the weight. My other bike is a Scott road bike, carbon fiber with carbon wheels, and the weight here is mostly due to its aluminum wheels, but it still does make me a bit apprehensive about using this bike for long road rides. I think what I need to do is just take it out on a long road ride, one that I've done in the past, and just compare the numbers to that of my road bike and see how it feels. Just see how much more work it is to power this one. But that's not why I got this bike. I got this bike because in the fall and winter, and really cycling in general, is amazing in off-road conditions. The leaves, the scenery, it's all beautiful. It lends to a different type of riding than fully road riding does, I feel like, especially in New York City because it's a very urban environment. So basically I got this bike because I wanted to open a whole new world of experiences up through cycling, if it's gravel rides, races, or fall foliage cruises down farm roads. I know I'll get a ton of use out of this thing during the fall and winter, and every season going forward. So I've been talking a lot here, but I'm almost done. I feel like this wouldn't be a real review without a pros and cons list. So I will start with the pros. The pro is, of course, the fact that it's a gravel bike. I can ride gravel on it. Gravel is super fun. Gravel is not as numbers and performance-based as road biking, and there's no cars. It's like hiking long distance with a bike in nature. The other pro, and this really isn't specific to this bike, but it's the fact that there's so many gravel events around the country you can sign up for and race and do. One reason I got this bike was because I want to sign up for events and travel around on the weekends to do them. With road racing, you got to be part of a category, and the Grand Fondos are kind of funny where they're oriented more towards like an older crowd, I feel like. So gravel racing events are really anyone can sign up. They usually end at like a brewery. They go through the woods or through farm roads, and it's just really cool. A major pro for this bike, honestly, was the cost. I got it for $3,000 after taxes and shipping, and Canyon is super reputable. So $3,000 for a good brand new 2023 model bike with carbon fiber and GRX group set, it's not a bad deal. It doesn't have carbon fiber wheels, but I was going to do like a 2-wheel set solution anyway, so I don't think I'm really needing carbon wheels right now, or gravel specific carbon wheels at least. And the fact that these came with DT Swiss was even better, even though the fact that they are aluminum. Which brings me to the next pro. It came with DT Swiss wheels. DT Swiss is an awesome brand, and I'm not sure if you know this, but you can swap out the inner hub ratchet on DT Swiss wheels to upgrade the engagement points, basically making a cheaper wheel behave and sound like an expensive one. I did that on this bike for about $100. I'm glad I did. Gravel is slippery, and so having the ability to quickly pedal, stop, change gears, do all that, and have your bike respond insanely quick is pretty important. Another pro is bike packing. This bike is intended for that, and the Grail is a very popular bike packing bike. It's got a little bit of everything built into it, especially mounts for your bags. I know I want to do tours on this thing, and so it's got plenty of spots to mount whatever I want to it. Another major pro for me is the fact that it's 2x. A lot of gravel bikes only come in 1x. This one has 2 gears up front, which means it makes a lot more sense to ride it on the road, which I know I'll be doing plenty of. Now, a few cons that I want to mention. One con is the integrated handlebar setup. It looks cool, but I really don't like the fact that I can't adjust it. I mean, it does fit. I haven't gone to a bike fitter on it, but I really prefer the ability to change positions on your bars, to tilt them up and down a little bit. It's not a huge con, but that's all I can think of. So that's pretty much it. I hope I gave you guys some insight into maybe buying a new bike and learned about the 2023 Grail. Also, I'm doing a few races around New York in the next few months, so if anyone watching this is signed up for some gravel events around the Northeast, hit me up, either here or on Instagram at nickbaum.cycling. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.